Do you know what happens when you spend time outside every single day, no matter the weather or life events, and you do it in Alaska? That's what I'm working to find out. I'm Amy Bouchatz, and this is my weekly outdoor diary where I tell you what I've been seeing and learning through my own daily outdoor habit tackling the Humans Outside 365 challenge. Sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes it's hilarious and full of fails. But it's always my real life. Let's go. Here's the thing about the sun. It's always moving. I know. I'm basically a philosopher now, but hang with me for a second. I was sitting on my porch recently, soaking in some sun rays in a spot that was conveniently out of a chilly wind. The air temperatures hit a high of 43 degrees that day, but we had finally gotten to the point here in Alaska land where if you sit in the sun, it feels so much warmer than whatever else is going on, including that wind that comes off the glacier. I decided to spend my outdoor time there on the porch because I'd had a busy day of rushing, moving, never-ending work, never-ending to-dos, never-ending thinking. I had just finished making dinner, and I had a brief reprieve before my next to-do of heading to a meeting that was going to be indoors and last well into the night. Just another day in the life of a local news reporter. But maybe it sounds like another day in the life of you, too. One of my favorite things about my front yard this time of year is the way I can quickly and easily measure the march forward of spring. I have lilac bushes right in front of my house with green buds peeping out. Under a giant window, daffodil shoots are peeping up into the brown, dirty snow and leaf-crusted dirt. Elsewhere around my yard, tall trees are stretching towards the sky with their leaf buds peeping out of the branches, basking in the warmth of the sun, just like me. And out on my front lawn, piles of crusty old snow are each day baking in the bright sun rays, getting smaller and smaller over each moment. And yes, there are flurries of snow still, but it melts quickly. And while the grass on my front lawn hasn't really started to grow yet, instead it's still smashed down and crusted with dirt left behind by the melt, I know that soon there will be movement there too. On that busy evening, as I sat on the porch and felt the warmth of the late afternoon sun on my face, I remembered that just a few short weeks ago, the sun was lower in the sky and didn't feel this warm. The leaves weren't coming out. The snowpack on my lawn hadn't melted. The daffodils were hiding underground. Everything was still and quiet and dead and winter. And now, it's not. Recently, the solar eclipse had much of the United States agog as people traveled hours and hours away from their homes to witness totality. Up here in Alaska, we had a gorgeous sunny eclipse day, but no hint of an actual eclipse as we were well out of the path of the event. Still, just knowing about that celestial movement while seeing the growth on my lawn, the melting of the snow, and the warmth of the sun on my face had me thinking about just how grateful I am this time of year that the sun reliably positions itself higher in the sky than it had been. I am grateful for the sun always moving. One of the things spending so much time outside has taught me is to notice the way things change, embrace them, and to find gratitude in each and every step of the seasons. That's true for the out-of-my-control stuff that makes me happy, like the warming weather, and it must also be true for the out-of-my-control things that feel like a loss of a friend, like the turning of summer into fall and then winter, or the fact that big, fat, fresh snowflakes fell as I was putting together this episode today. The nice thing about learning to embrace change by watching it happen outside rather than simply being smacked over the head with it as a part of my inside life is that outside, the process is usually very gentle if you're paying attention. Very rarely do seasons change in one dramatic moment. In fact, I'm not sure they do that at all. Even the first snowfall comes after a parade of days where the temperatures are slowly getting colder as the sun stops getting quite so high in the sky. I like to think that learning these lessons through nature by watching the seasons change and getting okay with how they move, learning to welcome whatever they bring and becoming okay with all of it, has made me better with having a similar attitude during my inside life. I'd like to think that my daily practice of seeing and being okay with changes to nature beyond my control has helped me let go of other things. Because just like outside things, change happens inside whether you want it to or not. Kids grow, relationships shift, dogs grow old and pass on, things break, jobs flex, and on and on and on. Just like the movement of the sun and the changing of the seasons, all of those things are out of my control. And just like the changing of the seasons, all of them are things I can learn to accept one day at a time. As I was putting together this podcast episode, I looked up to see a tiny green weed poking up through some old snow ice in my yard. It was just another signal telling me that spring really is coming and changes really are afoot, just like they always have been, both inside and out. You can see photos of all of my outdoor time, including my many springtime escapades, on Humans Outside on Facebook and Instagram. And I want to see your photos too. Tag them with #HumansOutside365. And until next time, we'll see you out there.